The sky above Earth burned with fire and light. From orbit, the Dominion fleet watched helplessly as human forces struck without warning. Warships exploded in brilliant flares. Alien troops vanished under the relentless attacks of unseen fighters. Communications faltered. Supply lines disappeared. The invaders began to understand what the humans had always known. They were not in control. Yet, even as their forces crumbled, the Dominion still did not see the full picture. Because humanity's other schemes were not just on the planet. They were everywhere. General Marcus Hale stood in the command room under Colorado, staring at the orbital map. Each blinking light represented a human strike, carefully planned and executed. Every Dominion ship destroyed had been predicted. Every lost convoy had been part of the plan. Phase 4. Hale said quietly. Begin the final stage. His officers exchanged glances. The final stage had been years in preparation, designed to not only defend Earth but to show the galaxy that humans were a force to be reckoned with. Hale pressed the console. Across the globe, hidden networks of satellites, orbital stations, and stealth ships activated at once. Messages went out to every human base, every hidden fleet, every resistance cell. The game was about to change. Above the Atlantic, a Dominion flagship moved into what it thought was a safe position. Its sensors picked up nothing unusual. Its crew believed the humans were broken, hiding or fleeing. They were wrong. From the shadows of space, sleek black human warships emerged. Their engines glowed faintly with hybrid energy, weapons bristling along their hulls. Drones swarmed around them, invisible to alien sensors. The flagship fired, but its weapons were jammed by human hacking systems. Shields failed in seconds. Within moments, the massive ship was crippled. Explosions tore through the deck. Dominion soldiers screamed, but there was no one to hear them. Below, humans watched the strike unfold through secure communications. They did not cheer. This was only the beginning. Across Earth, cities erupted in rebellion and resistance. Alien garrisons that thought themselves in control were overrun by human forces from hidden tunnels and secret bases. Tanks and armored vehicles rolled out of underground garages. Drones darted through the streets, guiding humans to weak points. Even the Dominion's elite soldiers found themselves outmatched. Human ingenuity, stealth, and strategy were unlike anything they had ever encountered. In Paris, a Dominion commander was cornered on a rooftop. He fired desperately, but every bullet missed. From the shadows, a human fighter emerged, energy rifle glowing. The commander looked around, bewildered. In a flash, it was over. Humanity had struck again, silently and efficiently. Admiral Zirak could feel the war slipping from his grasp. Reports came in from all directions. Fleets destroyed, bases overrun, supply lines severed. His pride, once unshakable, began to crumble. Every human counterattack was precise, controlled, and devastating. Captain Seelor approached, his voice calm. Admiral, they are not fighting to survive. They are fighting to show us who they truly are. Every failure we have suffered was not luck, it was design. Zirak's eyes blazed with fury. Design? How can design defeat the Dominion? Seelor did not answer. He only stared at the screens, watching humanity's other schemes unfold. The true scale of humanity's plan revealed itself when orbital defenses opened fire. Hidden platforms, previously disguised as debris, targeted Dominion fleets. Energy. Beams tore through shields, disabling cruisers and carriers alike. But there was more. A massive human fleet built secretly in asteroid fields and underground orbital docks began to move. These were ships of unimaginable size and power, constructed to rival even the Dominion's most advanced warships. Engines flared, weapons charged, and humanity's message became clear. The galaxy would never see them coming. From the flagship, Zirak watched in horror as human ships leapt into deep space. He realized too late that the humans had not only defended Earth, they had prepared to expand beyond it. On the planet's surface, humans moved with precision. Resistance forces worked with military units in perfect synchronization. Alien fortresses fell in hours, not days. Dominion soldiers, trained to fight countless enemies across the stars, found themselves trapped in cities they thought secure. The streets of London, New York, Beijing, and Rio were silent. But it was not the silence of defeat. It was the silence after the storm. After humans struck with unseen force and disappeared just as quickly. Everywhere, humans left messages. We were waiting. We are the hunters. The galaxy will see. The Dominion understood the truth. Earth had been preparing for this war for decades. Every retreat had been a trap. Every hidden weapon had been waiting for activation. Every act of resistance had been calculated to strike when it would hurt most. Humanity had played a long game, and now they were winning. Admiral Zirak gathered what remained of his officers. Their fleets were crippled, their soldiers demoralized, their pride shattered. "We will not surrender," he growled. "We will fight to the last soldier. We will burn this planet." Captain Sailor shook his head. "You underestimate them. They are no longer defending. They are deciding the war. Your soldiers are trapped in a storm they cannot escape." Zirak's claws clenched in rage. Deep down, even he knew Sailor was right. In Colorado, General Hale looked at the final displays. Human fleets were moving into formation. Hidden orbital stations were active, and every resistance cell on Earth was prepared for coordinated strikes. Hale turned to the leaders. The Dominion believed they could conquer us. They believed Earth was weak. They were wrong. We have shown them our teeth, our claws, and now our wings. He tapped a console. Maps shifted, showing attack routes and orbital positions. Every move was planned. Every outcome calculated. "The galaxy will see what humanity is capable of," Hale said. "Not tomorrow, not next year, but now." In orbit, the Dominion fleet faced destruction. Human warships struck with precision. Alien cruisers exploded. Commanders were captured or killed. Their troops on the ground were cut off, supply lines obliterated. And still, the humans did not advance recklessly. They advanced deliberately, using every resource, every trap, every secret they had spent decades preparing. The Vorthari had thought they were invincible. They had thought Earth would surrender. Now, they knew the truth. Humanity had never surrendered. Humanity had never feared. Humanity had been preparing. And the galaxy would never forget it. On the surface, civilians emerged cautiously. Streets were cleared. Humans rebuilt what had been destroyed, not in fear, but in confidence. They knew the Dominion would retreat or be destroyed. The humans had proven their strength, not just to the aliens but to themselves. General Hale watched the screen silently. His officers smiled quietly. The war was far from over, but Earth had survived, and more than survived, it had triumphed. And in the shadows, humanity's other schemes continued. Hidden fleets, secret weapons, and undetected bases awaited the next challenge. The Dominion had learned one lesson above all: never underestimate humanity. Because humanity was not just a planet. Humanity was a force that the galaxy would one day witness. And fear. Admiral Zirak stared at the remains of his fleet in orbit. Ships burned, soldiers were dying, cities fell. He had thought Earth would bow. He had thought victory was his. But he was wrong. Humanity had shown the galaxy that weakness was an illusion. Patience, strategy, and cunning could turn the tide of war. And now, the humans were no longer waiting. They were moving. Zirak whispered to himself as he watched the final strike from the human fleet. They were never defending. They were preparing to conquer. The sky above Earth cleared slowly, revealing the stars beyond. And in those stars, humanity's eyes were already watching. The galaxy would never forget this day. The galaxy was never silent. Trade ships hummed along their routes. Imperial patrols moved in formation. Messages leapt between stars, carrying news, rumors, and threats. But when Earth closed its gates, a different kind of silence spread. It was the silence of fear. The Empire's commanders sat in their war councils, their faces dark with anger. "They defy us," one general spat. "A single world thinks it can stand against the Emperor's will?" Another slammed his fist on the table. They must be crushed quickly, before their defiance spreads. The Emperor's advisors nodded. To them, Earth was a small matter, but they could not ignore what had happened. If one world said no, others might follow. If fear broke, the Empire could bleed. Orders went out. A fleet of 60 warships was to gather at Proxima Gate. They would be the hammer that shattered Earth. Yet, while the Empire prepared its strength, whispers of old stories returned. In the quiet halls of the Zorathi archives, a scholar studied records forbidden to most. His skin was pale and marked with inked symbols, his species known for memory and history. The scholar, named Dren, traced his claws along an ancient scroll. There it was, the record of humans. Not the soft, harmless traders the Empire knew today. Not the quiet colonists who smiled and spoke politely. No, this was different. Dren whispered, aloud as he read. Wars without mercy. Battles that burned entire regions of their homeworld. Soldiers who fought until no breath remained. Humans, the Death Worlders. He leaned back in his chair, unease crawling through him. The galaxy had forgotten. Perhaps it had chosen to forget. But the humans, had they forgotten? On the colonies of Mars and Europa, strange changes began. Ships returned from deep space, but they did not unload goods. Instead, they carried parts, old engines, broken weapons, pieces of armor. All were delivered to secret hangars where engineers worked day and night. Children whispered as they watched black ships glide silently into orbit. Are they ours? One asked. Yes, came the reply. Old ships, older than we are. Ships from before the Empire's eye fell upon us. On Earth itself, cities shifted into war mode. Lights dimmed to conserve energy. Factories ran without rest. Vast orbital stations that had once been for trade now bristled with hidden guns. The Empire believed humans had no fleets. That was half true. Humans had no fleets in sight. But in the deep void, far beyond known routes, lay the dark reserve, a scattered fleet of ships hidden across centuries, waiting for the day they would be needed again. That day was coming. News of Earth's refusal spread to alien worlds. On the world of Kaltris, a council of merchants debated in panic. If Earth survives, if it resists, the Empire will look weak. Trade routes will collapse. On the world of Ilthar, rebels in the mountains lit fires of celebration. If humans can defy, so can we, they cried. But not all were hopeful. On the watery world of Seraphis, the queen of the trolley wept. The humans do not know what they face. The Empire will send fire, they will drown. Her advisor shook his head. Perhaps you do not know the humans. There is more in their history than peace. Back on Earth, the council gathered again. Elena Merrick stood at the center, her voice calm but strong. The Empire will come, she said. They believe us weak. They believe us easy prey. But we have not forgotten who we are. Around the chamber, the other counselors nodded. Some were young, full of fire. Some were old, their faces lined with memories of wars long past. All shared the same resolve. One man, dark-haired with steady eyes, spoke. His name was Jonas Hale, once a soldier, now a representative. When I was a boy, he said, I asked my grandfather why humans always built walls and gates. He told me, because we know someone will always try to break them. That is our history. We build, we defend, and when the walls fall, we rebuild stronger. He looked around the chamber. The Empire thinks our gates are closed to hide weakness. They will learn they are closed to sharpen our strength. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, a massive door opened. Water boiled as ancient engines roared awake. From the shadows emerged a machine the size of a city, its body armored in dark steel. It had no name. It was one of the old Guardians, built in secret during a forgotten war. On the plains of Africa, hidden bunkers released swarms of drones into the sky. They flew in silence like flocks of birds before vanishing into orbit. On the far side of the moon, a hidden shipyard came alive, its lights burning bright for the first time in centuries. Black warships slid free, their hulls scarred but unbroken. The galaxy had thought Earth quiet, but Earth had been preparing not for decades but for generations. Meanwhile, the Empire's spies tried to learn the truth. A cloaked shuttle landed on Titan, sending agents into the colonies. They expected to find chaos, fear, despair. Instead, they found humans calm, steady, and busy. Factories worked, ships moved. People spoke with quiet determination. One spy sent a secret message back to his commander. They are not afraid. They are waiting. It is as if they know something we do not. His message was intercepted. His body was never found. Far from Earth. In the shadow of a dying star, a human fleet gathered. They carried no lights, no signals, no names. Each ship was silent, but together, they formed a storm. Admiral Kieran Voss stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Resolute. His eyes studied the void. "Centuries we have hidden," he murmured. "Now the gates are closed. Now they will see us." Behind him, officers stood ready. Some were young, never tested in war. Others were veterans of battles so old, no one spoke of them anymore. All of them carried the same fire in their eyes. Voss clenched his fists. The Empire thinks it comes to conquer. It comes only to wake the storm. The stars themselves seem to tremble. Merchants refused to travel near Sol. Pirates vanished from human space. Even slavers who preyed on weak colonies avoided Earth's borders. Something unseen, something heavy, pressed against the galaxy's heart. It was the weight of history returning. Because humanity's story was not peace. It was survival. It was struggle. It was war. And though the galaxy had forgotten, the humans had not. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor sat on his throne, golden light blazing around him. He listened to reports of Earth's defiance. He listened to warnings of rebellion. He did not smile. He did not frown. He simply spoke. "Send the first fleet. Burn their world. Show the stars what happens to those who defy us." His generals bowed, but in their hearts, some felt unease. The humans were different, too calm, too silent. And silence before a storm was never safe. The Imperial fleet cut through the void like a blade of fire. 60 warships, their hulls glowing with golden markings, advanced toward Sol. Each one was armed with weapons powerful enough to level cities. To the Empire, it was not a battle force. It was an execution squad. On the lead ship, the Glory of Dawn, Admiral Soreth stood tall. His skin was scaled and dark, his eyes cold as stone. He had crushed dozens of rebellions before, and to him, Earth was no different. "They are a primitive world," he told his captains. "They may resist for a moment, but their defenses will crumble. We will strike fast, burn their cities, and return in triumph." His officers saluted, confidence gleaming in their eyes. None of them feared humans. None of them imagined danger. Far away, on Earth, the council met for the last time before the battle. Elena Merrick looked at her people, her voice steady. "The Empire is here. Their fleet is strong, but strength alone does not win wars. We have prepared. We are ready. Today, we show them who we are." Jonas Hale nodded, his jaw tight. "Every colony stands ready. Every ship is in position. The gates are closed and our defenses are awake. Whatever happens, humanity will not kneel." Around the chamber, the counselors placed their hands on the table, a silent vow. The decision had been made. There was no turning back. At the edge of the solar system, the first Imperial warships entered Pluto's orbit. Their sensors scanned the dwarf planet, searching for defenses. They found nothing. Admiral Soreth sneered. As expected, empty rocks and cold silence. But then one of his captains frowned. "Admiral, a signal, faint but clear. It comes from beneath the ice." Before Soreth could answer, the surface of Pluto split apart. Enormous panels of steel rose from beneath the ice, glowing with hidden power. Then, with a roar that echoed even through the vacuum of space, A cannon fired. Single beam of light tore through the dark, striking one of the Imperial cruisers. In an instant, the ship was split in half, its golden hull shredded like paper. The first Imperial ship to fall in the battle for Earth burned without even firing a shot. Panic rippled through the fleet. Defenses hidden in the ice. One officer shouted. "Impossible!" another cried. Admiral Soreth's scales tightened in fury. "Advance! Destroy the weapon! Earth cannot hide from us!" The Imperial ships unleashed their weapons. Beams of energy struck Pluto's surface, melting ice and shattering stone. The hidden cannon fired again, this time taking another cruiser with it before collapsing under the storm of fire. The battle had begun. Closer to Earth, the defense network came alive. On the moon, long dormant silos opened, launching swarms of drones into the void. They were small, fast, and armed with sharp claws of metal. They swirled like locusts, tearing at the hulls of any ship that came near. From Titan's orbit, hidden railguns fired. Massive slugs of metal screamed through the dark, smashing into Imperial frigates. Armor cracked. Engines failed. Flames burst in the cold blackness. On Earth itself, cities watched the skies. Above the blue world, orbital stations turned, their hidden weapons uncovered at last. What had once seemed like simple trade hubs revealed rows of cannons, missile banks, and shield arrays. For the first time in centuries, Earth's true strength was awake. Admiral Soreth watched in shock as his fleet took losses. 5 ships gone already, 10 more damaged. His jaw tightened. These defenses, how did they build them in secret? He demanded. None of his captains had an answer. The truth was simple. Humanity had always been building. They had hidden their weapons not for conquest, but for survival. And survival had made them clever. Then the human fleet appeared. At first it was only a flicker on sensors. Then ships began to emerge from the dark. Black hulls, sharp as blades, moved into formation. They bore no Empire colors, no bright banners. Only the faint glow of running lights. At their center was the flagship Resolute, Admiral Kieran Voss commanding. His voice carried across the human network. "This is it," he said. "For centuries we have waited. Today we fight. Let the Empire see what happens when they push us too far. Hold the line, strike hard, leave nothing to chance." A chorus of voices replied, "For Earth, for humanity." And then they charged. The first clash was brutal. Human ships surged forward, faster and sharper than the Empire expected. Fighters darted between cruisers, dropping torpedoes that exploded. With deadly precision, Imperial ships returned fire, their beams scorching the void. Several human craft vanished in bursts of flame. But the humans did not break. They swarmed, striking again and again like wolves tearing at a giant beast. One Imperial destroyer was caught in a crossfire, hammered by railgun fire from a moon, station and torpedoes from 3 human corvettes. Its shields collapsed, its engines burst, and it spun into darkness before exploding. The galaxy had never seen humans fight like this, and it would not forget. On the bridge of the Resolute, Admiral Voss studied the battle map. Red markers blinked, showing Imperial ships. Blue markers showed human positions. Slowly, the red began to thin. "Keep pressure on their flagship," Voss ordered. "Don't give them room to regroup." His officers obeyed. A squadron of stealth ships slipped behind the Imperial line, unleashing a storm of missiles at the glory of dawn. The flagship staggered, its golden hull cracked. Admiral Soreth roared in fury. "Pathetic insects, crush them, burn their world." But his voice no longer carried confidence. Across the solar system, people watched. On Earth, children huddled with their families, staring at screens that showed flashes of light in the sky. On Mars, workers paused their labor to listen to the reports. On Europa, colonists crowded in domes, whispering prayers and cheers. Humanity had never been so united. Every person knew the same truth. Their future depended on this battle. The fight raged for hours. The Empire lost ship after ship, stunned by the ferocity of human tactics. The humans, though smaller in number, fought with precision, striking weak points, vanishing into cover, returning with deadly force. At last, the Imperial fleet began to waver. Admiral Sorth stood on his bridge, his scales trembling. "This is not possible," he whispered. "They were supposed to be weak." His aide turned to him, fear in his eyes. "Admiral, if we stay, we die." The words cut deep. But they were true. With a snarl of rage, Sorth gave the order he had never spoken before. "Retreat, signal all ships, fall back." And so the once proud fleet of the Empire turned and fled, leaving wreckage behind. When the last enemy ship vanished into the void, silence fell over the battlefield. Broken hulls drifted among the stars. Fires flickered in the blackness. On the Re. Resolute, Admiral Voss closed his eyes. They had won. Not the war, no, that was only beginning. But the first strike was theirs. He opened a channel to every human world. "This is Admiral Voss. The first fleet of the Empire has been defeated. Earth stands free. But this is only the beginning. They will come again. And when they do, we will be ready." Cheers rose across Earth, Mars, Europa, Titan, and every colony. Humanity had faced the Empire, and humanity had not broken. But across the galaxy, the reaction was different. On merchant worlds, rulers whispered in fear. The Empire's fleet lost? Impossible. On rebel planets, hidden leaders smiled with hope. If humans can fight, so can we. And in the Imperial Palace, the Emperor's eyes burned with cold fire. "Earth has drawn blood," he said. "Then Earth will drown in fire." Cliffhanger, ending of Part 3. In the shadows of deep space, the Emperor's true fleet stirred. Hundreds of ships, larger and stronger than those already sent, prepared for war. The first strike was over. The real war had only begun. The galaxy had never been so quiet. News of the Imperial fleet's defeat at the edge of the solar system spread faster than any warship could travel. It did not take weeks or months. Information traveled through encrypted networks, rumors and whispers in distant spaceports. By the time sunlight reached far colonies in the outer systems, every alien ruler, merchant, and soldier had heard the shocking truth. Earth had fought the Empire, and won. In many worlds, disbelief became fear. On the luxury stations of the Ilthari, belt merchants spoke in hushed tones. "Did you hear? The humans. They destroyed 60 Imperial ships with only half their fleet." "Impossible," one trader said, shaking his head. "The Empire is not defeated by one world." "Perhaps not defeated," the first replied, "but they were humiliated. And humiliation spreads faster than fire." In hidden rebel camps, hope blossomed. Small groups of alien insurgents who had been crushed for generations felt a new spark. One rebel commander, a thin, green-skinned woman named Vera, raised her voice to the gathered fighters. "The humans stood against the empires, and they survived. If they can defy the galaxy's strongest power, so can we. Perhaps it is time for us to rise." Her followers cheered, their spirits renewed. Even within the Empire, doubt crept in. The High Command had expected an easy victory, a simple show of force. Instead, their fleet had been torn apart, leaving their ships scattered and shattered. Some officers began questioning their own strength, wondering if the humans were more than primitive prey. On Earth, the Council watched the reports. Elena Merrick's eyes scanned the battle maps, her fingers tracing the movements of the Imperial fleet. "They will return," she said, "stronger, angrier. But now, the galaxy knows what we are capable of, and that is the first victory." Jonas, Hale sitting beside her, nodded. "The galaxy has seen the truth. Humans are not weak, and that knowledge will change everything." He was right. Across the stars, alien diplomats began contacting Earth. Some came with cautious greetings, seeking alliance or protection. Others watched silently, wary of provoking the humans, unsure of their true power. On the world of Calith, the Royal Council debated what to do. "If Earth can defeat the Empire, perhaps we should join them," one counselor said. Another shook his head. Dangerous thought. The humans are unknown. We cannot trust them. Meanwhile, in the shadowed corridors of the Seraphis Palace, the trolley queen whispered to her advisors, "Perhaps the humans are more than we feared. Perhaps we underestimated them. If the Empire strikes again, we must choose wisely." The Empire, furious and humiliated, planned its next move. The Emperor's eyes burned with cold fire as he studied the reports of his first fleet's destruction. "Earth has drawn blood," he said quietly. "Then Earth will drown in fire. Prepare the full armada. Leave no ship behind. Let humanity see the true strength of the Empire." High officers bowed, and messengers rushed across the galaxy, summoning every available warship. The Empire would not fail twice. Meanwhile, humanity did not wait for the Empire's next move. Hidden shipyards across the solar system were humming day and night. Black ships, long dormant, emerged from the shadows, repaired, and refitted for battle. Engineers and pilots worked tirelessly, ensuring that each vessel could fight and survive against overwhelming force. On Mars, factories churned out weapons, armor, and supplies. Children and elders alike contributed in small ways, preparing every colony for the coming storm. Every human knew the truth. This war would not be brief. It would not be simple. And the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. The humans also sent messages to the stars. Not threats, not promises, only a single statement, broadcast across countless channels. The gates of Earth are closed. Those who come to conquer will find nothing but fire and steel. The galaxy has been warned. Some worlds trembled. Some worlds cheered. On the planet of Krathis, a young commander stared at the broadcast, his face pale. They are different," he said to his officers. "More than any species we have known." The Empire's spies struggled to uncover the humans' hidden strength. Agents were sent to colonies, trade stations, and remote settlements. Many vanished, their reports never reaching headquarters. Those who returned brought only fear and confusion. "They are not merely prepared," one agent whispered to his superiors. "They are ready for everything." The Empire did not know what lay behind Earth's calm. They did not understand the centuries of planning, the secret fleets, the hidden weapons, the decades of training that had been quietly perfected. And that ignorance would cost them dearly. Human leaders knew this. They had studied the Empire's tactics, learned their strengths, and anticipated their mistakes. Every fleet, every station, every hidden cannon had a purpose. Every colony, every pilot, every soldier was ready. Admiral Kieran Voss stood on the bridge of the Resolute, studying the galaxy. "They will come," he said. "And when they do, they will regret underestimating us. This is the turning point. The galaxy will tremble." A young officer asked nervously, "Do we have enough ships?" Voss smiled faintly. "We have more than they can imagine. And more than that, we have humans." The word alone carried weight. Humans, stubborn, resourceful, fearless, were never predictable, never simple. And their enemies learned that the hard way. While the humans prepared, the galaxy began to shift. Small planets that had once obeyed the Empire silently began to murmur with rebellion. Traders who feared imperial taxes reconsidered. Colonists who had been oppressed for generations whispered hope to one another. Even neutral planets watching from the sidelines paid attention. The humans had shown that the Empire was not invincible. The balance of power in the galaxy, long thought fixed, now wavered. In the deep reaches of space, the first signs of the Empire's larger fleet began to appear. Hundreds of ships gathered, in formation, each one a testament to the Emperor's will. Their numbers dwarfed the first strike, their firepower unmatched. They moved like a living storm, a dark cloud approaching the heart of Sol. And yet, across the solar system, humanity's fleet moved too. Black ships hidden for generations emerged from secret gates. Orbital stations shifted into battle positions. Drones swarmed the void. Humans were ready. On Earth, Ellen Merrick addressed the council once more. We have won the first battle, but the war has only begun. The Empire will not forgive. They will not wait. Every human world must be ready. Every weapon, every ship, every mind must be alert. The galaxy watches. We will not fail. Jonas Hale, standing beside her, placed a hand on the table. They will come, he said. But they will learn that humans are not prey. We are predators when cornered. And today the galaxy will feel that. Cliffhanger ending of Part 4. Across the void, two fleets approached. One was black, sleek, and silent, human. The other was golden, massive, and roaring with fire, the Empire. The first shot of the final battle had yet to fire. But the galaxy already trembled. The void of space was alive with motion. Two fleets converged near the edge of the solar system. On one side, the human fleet, black hulls gliding silently through the dark, hidden for centuries, now moving with purpose. On the other, the Empire's Grand Armada, hundreds of golden warships, massive and powerful, radiating strength and arrogance. The galaxy held its breath. Admiral Kieran Voss stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his eyes scanning the enemy formation. His voice was calm, yet full of command. They think Psis will win. Let them learn what humanity has prepared for centuries. Hold your positions. Strike as one. Today, the Empire will understand who stands before them. His officers nodded, determination in their eyes. On Earth, Elena Marek addressed the council, her voice steady and resolute. Today, humanity shows the galaxy that no one can break our gates. Our world, our colonies, our people, they will not kneel. The Empire will see fire and steel, and they will tremble. Jonas Hale placed a hand on the table. Every human must know this. Our families, our homes, our history, everything we have fought for is at stake. Stand strong. Fight smart. The galaxy watches. The first shots were fired. From the hidden human positions near Jupiter's moons. Orbital cannons unleashed torrents of energy. The beams streaked across the void, striking Imperial frigates before they could even form a proper formation. The explosions were brilliant, fiery blossoms against the black of space. Simultaneously, human fighters darted out like swarms of shadows. They were small, fast, and unpredictable. Torpedoes streaked past Imperial shields, finding weak points. In their massive ships, the Empire's fleet roared in retaliation, beams slicing through the darkness, tearing at human ships. But the humans were ready. They vanished, reappeared, coordinated their attacks with perfect timing. Every strike was calculated, every move precise. Admiral Soreth, aboard the Glory of Dawn, bellowed in rage. How is this possible? How can they fight like this? They are only one world. Crush them, burn them. But his orders fell short. Human defenses were already everywhere. Hidden railguns on moons fired again and again. Drone swarms tore through Imperial hulls. Covert human ships emerged from asteroid fields, striking from angles no one expected. By the time Soreth realized, the front line of his fleet was collapsing. The Empire's pride was cracking under human precision and cunning. On the Resolute, Admiral Voss watched the battle unfold. Flank the enemy left, he ordered. Push them toward the outer fields. Let them break on our terms. The human fleet moved as if guided by a single mind. Black warships encircled the Imperial forces, cutting off escape routes. Missiles, energy beams, and railguns fired in synchronized waves. Imperial ships were torn apart, piece by piece, until the Armada was no longer a single threat, but a burning, chaotic mass of destruction. Voss looked out at the stars. For centuries we have hidden. Now we strike. No mercy, no fear. Humanity stands. Across the galaxy, aliens watched in awe. Planets that had long suffered under the Empire whispered rumors of rebellion. Traders who had fled Imperial taxes reconsidered returning to human space. Even neutral worlds, who had avoided conflict, saw the truth. Earth was not just a planet. Earth was a force. Rebels, insurgents, and freedom fighters began to believe that perhaps they too could resist. Perhaps the Empire was not invincible. Perhaps the galaxy could be free. The battle continued for hours. The Empire unleashed its most powerful weapons, attempting to crush human positions with supercharged beams and planetary strikes. But every attack was anticipated. Humans had built traps, baited the enemy into ambushes, and waited for the right moment. Every Imperial ship that approached too closely was met with overwhelming force. One massive cruiser, the Golden Hammer, attempted to break the human line. Hidden torpedoes struck first, crippling its engines. Then fighters swarmed from behind asteroids, cutting through its shields. Finally, orbital cannons from Europa struck, tearing the ship into fragments that scattered like shattered stars. The humans had proven one undeniable truth: strategy and courage could overcome raw power. Even the Emperor felt the tremor of defeat. In his throne room, surrounded by advisors and generals, he watched reports of destruction from the front lines. His face was impassive, but his voice carried ice. "Earth has drawn blood," he said quietly. "But we are the Empire. Our will is eternal. Gather the reserves, double the fleets. Every ship, every soldier, every weapon, bring them here. Humanity will learn the price of defiance." But even he could not ignore the new truth. Humans were not prey. Humans were something else entirely. Something dangerous. On the surface of Earth, celebrations were muted but heartfelt. Citizens watched the first reports of the battle, seeing the black silhouettes of their ships against burning Imperial vessels. Families held each other, whispered prayers, and thanked the engineers, pilots, and soldiers who fought in silence for generations. Children gazed at the night sky, imagining the Black Fleet moving through the stars, protecting their home. For the first time in centuries, humans everywhere felt an unshakable pride. Their world, their people, their history. They were not weak. They were alive, and they were unstoppable when united. By the end of the first day, the Imperial fleet was broken. Ships that had once threatened to conquer Earth were scattered and crippled. Some attempted to flee, others were destroyed outright. Admiral Soreth was captured in the chaos, his pride shattered. The humans had won the first decisive battle, and the galaxy took note. Admiral Voss surveyed the battlefield. His eyes were tired, but his expression was calm. "The first strike is complete," he said. "The Empire will not forget this day, and neither will the galaxy." After the battle, humanity did not celebrate blindly. The Council convened again, aware that the war was far from over. The Empire's full strength still approached. Humans had proven their might, but vigilance was required. Elena Merrick addressed the Council. "We have shown what humans can do. The galaxy has seen our courage, our strength, and our will. But the Empire will not stop. They will return with even greater force. We must remain united, prepared, and unyielding." Jonas Hale nodded. "Let them come. Every fleet they send will find the same. We are ready. We are humans, and we will never kneel." Across the stars, whispers turned into a chorus. Merchants, traders, rebels, and rulers shared a new truth. Earth had risen. Humans were no longer quiet colonists or weak prey. They were predators in the dark, clever, united, and unstoppable. Even the most powerful beings felt fear. The galaxy, for the first time in centuries, wondered, could the humans change the balance of power forever? And in the black silence beyond Pluto, hidden fleets waited. Humans from distant colonies emerged from the void, joining the fight. They formed a shield around the Sol system, ensuring that no Imperial ship could escape or regroup. Every human ship, every hidden weapon, every soldier was in position. The message was clear. Earth would not bow. Earth would not fail. Cliffhanger. Ending of Part 5. Conclusion. The Imperial fleets were in retreat. Smoke and fire marked the void where once they had hoped to dominate. The galaxy had seen it all. The humans had won this day, but the war was not over. The gates of Earth remained closed. The stars had trembled, and the galaxy understood one simple truth. Humanity was awake.